Good morning. This is Kelly Hilbert from Alpaca Direct, and I'm here working on this XX2 sweater. Is by Von Hinterstein, and you can see right here what it looks like. So beautiful. I'm so excited. I'm using Madeline Tosh DK Twist, and it is a lovely yarn. I'm still trying to work through stash in my closet. So anyway, here's what I have so far. It starts at the back of the neck. And you can see here, I knit in one direction going out this way, and then you put that on scrap yarn, and then you knit in the other direction going this way, and it's kind of curled and doing its thing, but it is an awesome pattern. What I love about it is very structured for a knit, and it makes like a jacket. And I was so excited to be able to make a jacket, so I thought I would try this. Now, I have run into a few dilemmas and different issues, and I think it's mostly because of the language barrier. I think she does a great job on her designs; are so beautiful, but I think because English is not her first language, it is a little harder for her to translate the pattern for us. So you kind of have to stick with it, and you kind of have to work on it. And if you run into a problem, then you just back up and start over and take it as a challenge, not as, you don't want to get all frustrated with something like this because it is complicated to start with. And it's her second language, so she's trying the very best that she can, but it is hard for her because she doesn't speak our
Lots
language.
of people starting, so why don't you show them the people
Yes,
coming on
good
board?
morning, everyone. I'm working on XX2. There is an XX1, and
What's
which
the
it
XX2
doesn't have a
mean?
collar. XX2 is just the name of the cardigan, and the reason why she called it XX2 is because there's original XX1, and it doesn't have this fancy collar that you see around here. It just has a more casual look to it. So if you wanted to do her patterns, you might start with the one that's less complicated and then work up to the one that's more complicated. Or you can be like me and you can just muddle on through.
So we have people coming on board.
Good morning, everyone. It's so
Maine,
nice to have you here with me.
Texas.
And for this last week, we had the giveaway was pure alpaca, which is 100% baby alpaca, made in Peru. And which color was the winning color, Jim?
The gold.
The gold color. Oh, yes. I love this color. If you look at it, kind of has multicolors in it. It has like a little orange in it and some different flecks. So it's not just a straight gold color. And it is quite beautiful. I love this color. So for this week, I was thinking because it's still just a little bit warm, even though we're heading into fall, I thought we could offer some Malabrigo sock. And I chose orange or red. And the reason why I chose the orange is it's getting close to Halloween. And don't you think orange would be nice for something?
And harvest.
Yes, a harvest color. Yeah, and red's lovely too. And if you haven't tried Malabrigo sock yarn, this is a lovely yarn. And I'm looking to see it's 100% superwash merino. So this yarn does not have nylon in it, but it makes great socks. I have made socks with it before, and it makes great socks. The nylon just adds a little more durability to the actual sock. If you're going to wear it on your feet, it helps a little bit with that, but it's not completely necessary. You could try it without it. So, anyway, I wanted to take a second and look at the three things that I learned by just starting this project. Now, I haven't gotten very far because I had to take it out a few times, and I'll tell you why I had issues and what happened with me, and hopefully. You can learn from what I'm doing, and it can help you too if you decide to make this sweater because her designs are beautiful, and it's lovely to have people make designs from different countries because you get different projects that look beautiful. So anyway, I wanted to take a look at this. All right. So first of all, we are looking at the most important thing, I guess, is to go ahead and decide what size that you want. And I want mine to be a little bit bigger. So I chose a medium because I don't want it to be too tight. And in here, this has a set pocket in it. And I'm not sure that I'm going to do, I may keep this design right here and just make it part of the sweater and not actually a pocket, because if you look at projects on Ravelry, it is a very shallow pocket. And to me, I don't think that I would put anything in there. So I think just having the design plus a double thick fabric right where your tummy is, I'm thinking that maybe it doesn't need not be what I was thinking I would like. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but I do like this pattern, so I will keep that pattern going down like that and then do it. And then I also wanted to do a shorter version so it's not too tall, because I am petite sizing, so I am short. So the short jacket will work great for me.
When you're looking at sweater patterns, how do you decide like one that you're going to choose?
Though the way that there is something about this pattern that is really nice. It's knit all in one piece, so it's a top-down cardigan, and so it's knit in all one piece, so you don't have to seam all the pieces together. Do you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So it makes for kind of not a lot of finish work, which I really like. And you do the buttonholes as you go. And make sure, I would say with this pattern, make sure you go to Ravelry and read all the projects, because there are some useful information that has been put in there by people who have knitted the project.
Mm-hmm.
And I really like that. So anyway, so I have plenty of yarn for my project. Here's another look of how they do it. Right here is what we want to look at. This one to the left, Jim. Can you move it that way over a little bit? Can they see it? Yeah. Oh, good. Okay. So that's kind of what you do. You do the sleeves after, and it is a really nice pattern. I like it. So when I was knitting along, in the beginning, I did the right side of my collar, and it worked out lovely. And I used the written instructions, but you could also use the charts. The thing about the charts here are the right-sided rows are on one chart and the wrong-sided rows are on another chart. So making sure that you use these kind of tick marks so you can keep track of your work is very important, because it might be easy for some people to get lost in the pattern. And then when I was doing my second part, so I knit this whole part and then, this whole part, and then put it on the scrap yarn, right? Wait, and then I had to pick up stitches right in here. And you could see here that I have it's a reverse E-loop cast on that was done, and I wasn't sure about it, so I thought I would do it, but I kind of like it in a way. It's not how shall I say, really uniform with these little strands of yarn here, but what I like about it is it's thick. It's not too thick. It's kind of thin. And so I do like that about it.
Tell them what you were concerned with E-loop. You were talking to me.
Yeah, I'll show you. When you do different casts on, so I'll show you a couple different cast ons, and you can decide and see what you think. So I don't usually use a slip knot. I just put the working yarn over. And then what I would do is like this. Sorry, honey. Yep. So to do an E-loop, you just do that. Right? That's an E-loop cast on. But you can see that it is not super substantial, and it's kind of moves around a lot. So it's when you go to pick up stitches, it could be there's not two sides to get your pickup stitches. So if I was going to come back and pick this up later, sorry. 1 second, Jim, I was untangling my cord. If I was going to pick these up later, see how I only have one loop to pick up? That doesn't give you a lot of stability for your pickup. So let me show you what I mean. So if I do a regular long tail cast on, right? And I do a long tail cast on. Let's take a look at this long tail. See how I have the V's here? I can go underneath sorry, my cord is long on this. I can go underneath that whole stitch and pick up a new stitch, and it gives you a lot of structure right there. Do you see the difference of what I'm talking about? So again, this is a regular long tail cast on, and if I was going to just pretend that this is other scrap yarn, if I was going to pick up a stitch from here, this stitch, let's see if I can get it through here. It would, well, anyway, if I was going to pick up a stitch from here, this would be a really sturdy pickup, but you would see these little V's on the inside of your sweater, in the inside of the back of the sweater, right? So you would see that right here, the little V's, and you wouldn't see this little line here. So it's, I don't know, it's whatever works for you. I think you should do you, but just so you can see what it did. It was kind of interesting, I thought.
What's the benefit of the E-loop cast on?
It's just what the designer called for.
Okay.
And I usually don't use an E-loop cast on. It's not one of my favorites because I like a cast on that's really stable. And the E-loop cast on is not stable. It can swing right around. And there, with E-loop cast-ons, you can do this kind of cast-on, which is the regular E-loop cast-on, or you can do this. That's a reverse E-loop cast-on. And all it does is gives you the strand. I had a little extra strand on there. So you can either have your loops coming off this side, or you can have the strand of yarn coming off the front side.
Ask them what they like.
So you guys tell me what you like and don't like, and then it gives me ideas for mine. So on this, I'm getting ready in the pattern. Oh, also I forgot to tell you guys, when I got over to this left-hand side, it had me pick up stitches. It says, using a thin helping needle, pick up stitches from the cast-on side without knitting them, 1 stitch per stitch. So what they're saying is when they're picking up stitches, they're just picking up a stitch with you put the right-hand loop in the front, right? So if I was picking up stitches from right here, I would be doing that, but you're not knitting them. And when I first did mine, I did it and I was knitting them. And then I went, oops, I didn't do exactly what they asked me to. So I went back and did what they asked me to. Now, I also ran into the next step was a little bit, I didn't see any errata anywhere that talked about this, but my wrong side, in order to make the pattern, because when I first did it, I did a bunch on this other side, and then what I realized was that this pattern was on the outside here, and then the other side started showing up on the inside. So I had to take it out and make my row number 1, it says a right-sided row, so I had to swap them. I had to do the wrong side, right side, wrong side, right side, and do exactly the opposite of what the pattern said, and then it came out fine.
Wonder, was there anything in Ravelry about that?
No, I looked for errata. I did not see it anywhere, but it's working fine doing it that way. And so, and on this last one, it says then repeat row 1 another 1 time. So that would have been completing after a right-sided row. Well, on row number 8, that is a right-sided row because I'm doing the opposite. So I did not need to repeat row number 1 another 1 time. So now I'm getting ready to do my back and shoulders, and we're going to see what's going on with that and how that works. But I'm not sure exactly how it's going to work. So in your little picture, we have stitches here on. Actually, we have stitches here that are live stitches, and then we're going to be picking up stitches along the back, and then I'm sure we're going to be putting these stitches that were on scrap yarn onto our needles, and then we will be working them like this. Let me show you. We'll be starting this. So we'll have stitches all the way around. And then what it's going to do is it's going to create a saddle or a set-in sleeve, whichever you want to call it. And that's what gives your overall, wherever that lovely sweater is, that's what gives the shoulders this look. Isn't it cool?
That's the actual shoulder
Of the XX2 sweater.
Right.
Yeah.
So
So isn't that cool? So it's going to be, it'll be really neat. And then what else? Oh, when usually when you do hand-dyed yarn, every other row you would alternate. You would go back and forth with one color, one ball of yarn, and then back and forth with another ball of yarn to prevent pooling. And I printed out somewhere here, if I can find it. Yeah. Here's a perfect example of what color pooling is. And she did not alternate her yarn. And this is the exact, no, it's XX1, because see how it's doesn't have that fancy color. It's just more casual, a casual look. But you can see there's color pooling right here, color pooling over here, some faded area over here, and you're going to get that. But the way you avoid having that happen on your sweater, if you're using hand-dyed yarn, is you would go back and forth with one color and then pick up the next color and go back and forth with that color. And then it'll take out these chunks of color that you might get if you don't do that. And that way, because when you buy this hand painted yarn, it's expensive. The hand painted yarn is very expensive, but it can cause this color pooling. Some people enjoy this color pooling, and to me, I don't enjoy that color pooling. So I want it to look I want it to look like I don't have look like I fell and tripped on blue or something. You know what I'm saying? So anyways, and especially since this hand painted yarn, you can be paying a small fortune for your lovely sweater. And so you want it to look the very best that you can look. Oh, also another trick that I forgot to mention is when you have your cake of yarn and you're going to be alternating the back and forth rows, make sure that one cake is smaller than the other cake, because you don't want to end in exactly the same place. Because if you end at the exact same place, meaning both cakes run out at the same time, it's not going to look as good. So just keep that in mind when you're knitting your project, and just make one cake of yarn a little bit smaller than the others, just to make that look a little bit better.
I'm gonna vote on this again.
Yes, I will. Jim said, have them vote on this again. So for this last week, this lovely Coeur d'Alene Bravo alpaca yarn, and is this called the honey colorway? It is color CQ94. It's like, oh, maybe it's Golden Harvest, something like that. And it has multicolors in it. And this was the winning color for today, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And what we're voting on for next week is Malabrigo, this sock, and it's 100% superwash merino, and it's great for shawls and socks. And I thought maybe we could offer an orange or a red, and that's because of the harvest season coming up. These are beautiful colors for that.
Give them that code too. TT.
Oh yeah, and I forgot to tell you, Jim just reminded me. So for the code to get 10% off of your Malabrigo sock yarn for today, and it is TT9132. So to get 10% off of this, if you wanted to buy your own sock yarn, it's TT9132, and that's only for today. But it's a good time to get a little bit of a discount. Any day is a good day to get a discount. I like that. And so this next week, what I was thinking I would do is I'm going to be continuing on with my sweater, and it'll be interesting to see if I actually finish the sweater, or if I decide that it's too much work because of the language barrier that we have going on. But I'm going to really try, because I really like this sweater. And I think that with a little bit of perseverance, I can go ahead and make this lovely. Yes. Oh, my little puppy. She is my helper. She mostly interrupts what I'm doing, so I have to let her outside or pay attention to her because she likes to scratch on my leg, and that's code for "Mommy, give me attention." So my little puppy Aussie, she's darling.
Yeah, to share the
So
winner was Mary
yes,
Miller. It was
it's what?
Mary Miller.
Oh, Jim just told me the winner because he didn't have it written down. It's Mary Miller. Mary, congratulations. You won some Bravo alpaca yarn. And this is a lovely golden color that has flecks of different colors in it. And I think you'll really enjoy this 100% baby alpaca made in Peru. So you guys have a great week. And next week, we can take a look and see what I've created. And we can learn from my journey, just in case you want to make this lovely sweater called XX2 by Von Hintermstein.